Hello and welcome to Metal Matrix After Dark. And today I'm reviewing the Marvel's Internals. Is it as bad as the critic score, or is it as good as the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes? Well, my opinion, it lies somewhere in between. Do I recommend you go seeing that movie? Well, go to the end of the video for my feedback because I'm going to give you my reasonings right now and I'm going to give spoilers. If you don't want to listen to the spoilers, then move, like I said, to the end where I give my opinion whether you should go see it or not. All right. If you haven't left, spoilers are coming. As I said before, it lies somewhere in between. But before we go delve too much into it, let's look at today's audience or score. 47% of the critics and audience score 80%. Well, I don't think 80% is worth it. But again, I don't think 47% or 50%, if you want to delve into it, is fair either. I would say it lies between 60 and 70%. It wasn't a great movie. It had its problems, it had its issues, but it was an entertaining movie, in my opinion, in regards to what I expected from it. It was a popcorn movie. We don't want to, was it as good as Endgame? No. Was it as bad as some of the other movies out there? No. The unfortunate part was leading up to it, the critics panned it, and then a lot of the woke community got upset because Marvel had promoted it as the most diverse cast ever in the MCU. First superhero man on man kiss, first superhero that's deaf. And you know what? I could care less. I personally could care less whether it has a man on man kiss or a woman on woman kiss or a death character, as long as the storyline and the characters match what's being portrayed. And in my opinion, they fell flat on those sequences, as they did with the sequence in Endgame. It just seemed forced to show something and to tick off the check marks. In regards to the cast, I think overall the selection of the individuals was okay. Could the acting been better? Yes, and I'm going to get into that a little bit further into my discussion here. So let's take a look at some of the critic score here. So Internals is not a good movie. It's not a good comic book movie. It's not a good action movie. It's not a good Marvel movie. It somehow feels overstuffed, empty, and at the same time, it's muddled and convoluted. It's bland and boring and bewildering mess. I wouldn't say it was bland and boring. I wouldn't say it was an overwhelming, bewildering mess. Was it convoluted? Muddled and convoluted? Yeah, I would say a little bit. It looked like they were trying to do a lot in a short amount of time, and I'll delve into that a little bit more. Uh, did I come out? I went in, I'll be honest, with a lot of negative pressure because I saw some reviews on the internet, and because of the supposedly negative and the rotten feedback that came on the critics, that I don't think was deserving, because I think majority of the critics out there that sit there and look at these shows, movies, are not caring whether or not it's got these what they call the check marks in it. They just want a good actor, actress movie with storylines and interaction. And some of it was warranted in here. I'm not going to go through all of this. None of the came across as compelling. Well, yes and no. These are beings are supposed immortal, but you feel at times the internals has lasted for an eternity. Um, I didn't feel that. I actually thought the movie ended really at a good time, and I didn't feel it was over long. But I did feel it was, like I said, a little bit convoluted because they were trying to pack a lot of stuff in and explain a lot. in a short amount of time. And that would have been like, say, Endgame, if you were going to do, because Endgame was done. The Marvels, the last two were done in two parts. And if you put those two together, you probably would have had the same jumble mess that you had in here. All right, so let's get back into the main points that I wanted to say here. Um, the main two characters in it, Cersei and Icarus, the complaints in that is regards to their supposed love interest and how they were in love with each other, and then Icarus disappeared for eternity and then all of a sudden shows back up because of the deviants, and Cersei giving up on him. It kind of worked at the beginning, and then it kind of lost its luster and showing that they were still in love with each other. And that is why Ajax had picked Cersei, because she knew that Icarus, at the end of the day, would probably turn on her, which I think she knew that just the way Icarus was, because he knew what was happening on Earth, the emergence. But throughout the movie, it kind of wasn't working. You didn't feel the reconnection between Cersei and Icarus in their love interest and their passion. It seemed to be lied flat. So at the end, when Icarus couldn't kill Cersei when she stopped the emergence, it it kind of lost its luster. It didn't mean much. I understood it. Don't get me wrong; it was part of the storyline. I think the storyline of the whole Eternals was good. It deviates from the comic books because the Celestials were judges, not merging from the planet, and at the same time, throwing in the deviants was a sideshow, as I would say. You didn't quite understand why they were there, and it kind of lost the luster of Angelique Jolie's Thena character, in that what was she there for? Like, again, it kind of laid flat in at the end when she got her revenge. Um, it was sad because you were at the beginning, you're going, oh, okay, this is what it is. And if you didn't know that there was a divergence coming out and that was the main thing, you might have bought in. And I think that's the whole thing, was that the divergence kind of didn't tie in with the deviants. Now, if the deviants and the emergence were tied in together, you might have bought into what was happening. And as one person said, they were hoping that the divergence happened so that the celestial being came out and then a new race came out, a new universe. Me, I didn't. I wanted to stop, be honestly, because I believed Gemma Chan's Cersei, where she loved planet Earth and she loved the human beings. I bought that from her. That was what grasped me, was her her struggle to convince everybody that this was going to happen. And it, of course, a lot of the other ones, after being a while on their own, realized how important planet Earth was in their own different ways. Overall, like I said, I thought it was a good storyline. Well, I'll continue on here. I'll finish up because I want to add that to the end. Now, speaking of the supposedly man on man kiss with Phantos. Anyways, sorry if I say it wrong. I should get these names down proper. But anyways, it just fell flat. If it was cut out of the storyline, it wouldn't have mattered much. They put this wonderful music in, and it, tried to make it like all these two lovers and everything else, and it just went flat. It did not, like, I know what they were trying to get at, but it just went flat. And it's not because I like I said, I could care less. It just did not work. And I would say right now, if you even put a man and a woman in that one and did the exact same way, it would fly flat. It just what did not work. His You just didn't grasp his love for the family and vice versa. It just, I don't know. Seemed forced and just a check mark. The death character, what was her name? Makaira, the speedster. She showed up at the beginning of the movie and then at the end. Okay. Um, she did a couple of sign languages at the beginning to her other internals, and she disappeared. She Until she showed up there, and she's on the celestial ship, or not the celestial, on the spaceship that Phantos raises up. You're thinking that, oh, he had to be there to raise the ship up, but all this time she's sitting in the ship with all the stuff around her that she has collected over time, and it just, again, it was missing something. Her storyline was missing as to why she stayed on the ship, as to why she was there, what the reasoning behind it, and why all they had to do was contact her, and her raising the ship up. It doesn't make sense. Anyways, that's the sad part, because they had an opportunity that they preached about, and the character was in the background. And then for some reason, she gets upset when Durig gets hurt, almost killed by, or you think he gets killed by Icarus. And she screams as best as she can as a deaf person and is upset at Icarus. But yet you don't know the reasoning behind it because you've never seen their interaction other than Durig leaves the start of where the internals split up. He leaves under his, as I would say it, um, as a spoiled child. At least he didn't go and start trying to control the human race. Now, Fan, Phantos, his upset of him creating and inventions destroying Earth, I bought into that. That whole storyline, under that again, that was part of that worked, and then I'm just saying the parts that don't work. It just seemed like it was lost at times, but at the same time, it seemed to work because it didn't distract me from the storyline that they were trying to portray. With all the negatives in it, it still allowed me to enjoy the movie for what it was, part of the MCU universe, part of the next phase. Um, in my opinion, the storyline was actually better than Black Panther. Black Panther, it was the acting that saved it. The storyline was garbage. I hated it. I just sat through it because I enjoyed the actor who played Black Panther. I enjoyed some of the actresses in it. It but the storyline was terrible compared to this one. Whereas the storyline in this, in my opinion, worked, but the acting at times was subpar because it seemed that the actors and actresses didn't know what part of the movie they were in at times. But at the same time, I bought in at the storyline as it moved along, even though some of it was just jumbled. All right, I'm done with all the spoilers. So, my opinion, should you go see it? That all depends. If you want a popcorn movie and you enjoy just a popcorn movie and you want to be in the know of the MCU universe and what's coming, yes. If you want this more deep buy-in and just the great acting and everything else that you deserve from this movie because of the number of actors and actresses in it, I would say, no, wait till it comes out on TV. I forgot a couple of things though. I did forget a couple of things. Gilgamesh, my opinion, the actor for Gilgamesh, he was good. I enjoyed him. That's what brought me into it. And Kingo, I thought Kingo was his character was pretty funny. But I again, this is what I laugh at in regards to how they say it was diverse and everything else. He portrayed Bollywood in as the stereotypical Bollywood, and that was, in my opinion, a little bit negative. You know, yeah, he's a funny character. I enjoyed him in Silicon Valley. I think he was a comical relief in the movie, and I enjoyed that part of the movie also, a bit of the comical relief. But his beginning part, where is in India and is this rich Bollywood person, it kind of made it stereotypical, which gave me the negative that, hey, you know, like here you are trying to show diversity, yet again, you kind of, in my opinion, made fun of Bollywood. That's just me. Anyways, if you like what I said, hit the like button down below. If you didn't, well, you can hit the dislike button. Feedback is always welcome, and I really appreciate some feedback of what you think. Am I wrong? Am I right? Hey, I accept any criticism. Take care and have fun. Peace out.